Josh Heupel, the best head coach who just finished year 3. So go ahead and tell me, where does he rank on this list of coaches that have finished year 3, which really at that point, the significance of it is that you should have a good feel for who a coach is, right? After 3 years?
That is correct.
Okay, where's
Yes, you
Josh
should have.
Heupel on this list?
So there's no real ranking. It's just grades for everyone. And Josh Heupel is one of only 2 coaches to have an A. There was no A plus. There was 1 A minus. Josh Heupel got an A. The other one who has an A is Steve Sarkisian at Texas. The only other A coach was an A minus, and it was Lance Leipold at Kansas.
Yes.
So Josh Heupel, Steve Sarkisian, and Lance Leipold are leading the way. I got to give Lance Leipold credit. I will say, I mean, winning at Kansas is like the most impossible thing in the world to do.
Okay, well, what grade would you give Josh Heupel? Out of third-year coaches, knowing that not graded on a curve necessarily, but knowing that's your backdrop and you're comparing it to them. So apparently the writer here for CBS Sports, who is that, Barrett Sallee?
No, this one is Chip Patterson.
Okay, Chip Patterson. Good old Chip. Don't know who that is. But Chip seems to think that Sarkisian and Heupel are by far the best. They're the A's. Those are the 2 guys. What would you give Heupel? Because I would not give him an A. I mean, an A is exemplary. A plus is incredibly exemplary. I thought he mishandled the quarterback situation last year. So I'd give him an A minus or maybe even just a B plus to this point. And my thoughts, Caleb's as well, brought to you in this segment by Don Self, our State Farm agent in the Chattanooga area. Call 423-396-2126. I know everybody wants to save money. I get that, but customer service matters when you make that claim. Trust me, donself.net, over 40 years in the Chattanooga area, donself.net, donself.net. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go with a B. When it would have been an A plus at the end of 2022, but as of 2023, I'm going to flat B, not even a B plus. I don't think that he handled the Cooper Mays situation correctly. I think surgery should have been done early on in the season. I don't think Tennessee should have just won 8 games last season. So I can't give him an A if you're not peaking in year 3.
Okay, so I don't move my grades that much from year to year. I was giving him an A minus last year because I flashed the warning sign about Josh Heupel's talent evaluation, and everybody was on it, and now everybody was off it because they were upset with the Joe Milton thing. Dave, the mishandling of the quarterback situation last year that you didn't like in 2023, that goes back to 2021 when he decided to get Joe Milton out of the portal in Michigan. That's the flaw. That's the fatal original sin of Josh Heupel. Can we agree with that? Going after Joe Milton to begin with was his original sin at Tennessee. And that was eating the fruit from the poison tree, or the fruit from the tree. And he never should have done it. He did it out of his own cockiness and arrogance because he wanted his guy and he wanted to prove that he picked the right quarterback. And that set up the situation for 2023 that should not have been set up that way. Fair enough. We all agree. We can agree that was a giant mistake. The other 2 drawbacks that I have for him, you got one for me, was Cooper Mays injury. That, you're right, that was totally mishandled. If he handles that right, he beats Florida, I'm pretty sure. Easy. So that's a big mistake. The third one is not being able to make adjustments after Missouri blindsided him last year. That was a red flag to me, and I think you agree, right? The fact that they never made any halftime adjustments after Missouri totally changed their game plan.
Missouri came out a totally different defense. One they had been saving because they got the score ran up on them last year. I was told this by somebody that was involved with the game, and they ran a totally different defense, and Tennessee never adjusted. Tennessee also got out-coached in Alabama. Whether or not you think Alabama was just better or not, they did have the lead, and they made some – you and I disagree on some decisions in the first half, but still, you have to say Alabama out-coached them because of halftime adjustments, right?
No, I still won't go there. I think Alabama was just I've been committed to this the whole time, and I think Alabama was just better. Some people I talk to actually think Josh Heupel abandoned the run game in that game. I don't think he could run the ball in that game.
Okay, but wait. I mean, they clearly made adjustments. I mean, Jalen Milroe. I mean, Tennessee got outcoached and outplayed in that game, right? Both.
Did they get outcoached?
Right,
was there any,
right, I think.
Maybe, but I think mainly it was just Heupel was dramatically outcoaching Saban in the first half. And then I think Saban made adjustments, but I don't think there were any adjustments that Heupel could have made in that game. I really don't.
Yep.
Um, so
We're going to get into the whole whether or not you should punt, and we've done that. We've exasperated that. I mean, I don't know how you can have a significant lead and how you can be moving the ball and not and then you have a coach that determines, hey, I'm going to me, that's a great coaching move. That's like if I put a great move on you in basketball and I beat you to the hoop, it doesn't mean you're a bad defensive player, but I just outplayed you. So if a coach makes a drastic change to take advantage of Jalen Milroe's legs, which Nick Saban did, that's a great move. I don't think that Josh Heupel had a great move in that game. So to me, my definition is that that's out coaching.
I think Josh Heupel had
we may be playing semantics a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, because I think the whole thing came down to Tennessee couldn't block Alabama's defensive line, and Josh Heupel couldn't get the run game going. And if Heupel can't get the run game going, he can't run his offense. There's really no adjustment he can make at that point. It's kind of similar to, people forget that a lot. You know, a lot of pass happy offenses are dependent on the run. But either way, even with all those things, and those are all the negatives, Dave, I'm still going to give him an A- over a 3-year period. What he did, that 2021 season going 7-6, that team should have gone 3-9. If you actually look at that team, they should have gone 3-9 in 2021. That was not a good football team. That was a bad football team. Josh Heupel inherited a bigger mess than Derek Dooley inherited in 2010 or 2011. And that team should have gone 3-9 easily, and they went 7-6. That was all Heupel's coaching. And then in 2022, I actually predicted they'd have a 5-0 start, then an 8-0 start and beat Alabama. And I mean, and went 11-2. Yeah, the South Carolina game happened, but he dramatically overachieved in 2022. So I think still, even with the drop off to 8-4 in 2023, I'm still going A- with Josh Heupel. I can't go B range. Who would you take on that list over him?
Who would I take in the list over him? The third year coaching?
Yeah, Steve Sarkisian. I wouldn't.
No, but I don't. I mean, I don't. I'm never going to like Steve Sarkisian because just he doesn't care about defense at all. I mean, so that's like preaching, kind of turn around and preaching to the choir, literally. So you're never going to have me on board that train. I mean, I think he's done as well as any of them, but I guess what I'm telling you is I don't think that anybody's done an A job. The new poll question that's up, and you can take advantage of that. Go ahead. CBS Sports give Josh Heupel an A for 3 seasons. So here are the choices as I try to manipulate a little bit to make you think. A+, B, C, or D. Surely we won't get any votes for a D. I can't.
So A- is not an option?
A- is not an option because I made it difficult. Because if you go A-, B+, that's just slight differential. Now you have to choose between A+ and B.
At that point, it's easily A+. It's easily A+.
Oh, I disagree. I think it's B. I think it's B anyway.
Dave, there is not a chance in hell that a B coach would have taken Tennessee 7-6 in 2021. Okay? If you gave, I'll just say it. Name a B coach. Gus Malzahn, would you say he's a B coach?
Yeah, Gus Malzahn. Okay, with not B- overall. And I think Josh Heupel. Okay, but wait a second. I didn't say at any point that Josh Heupel was an A+ coach. I said in his 3 years, I would give him a B.
A B job would have meant 3-9 in 2021, and it would have meant 8-4 in 2022. Josh Heupel went 7-6 and 11-2 in those 2 years.
Okay,
come on. And also, let's not forget, last year, again, Josh Heupel's original sin was Joe Milton. But considering that he was stuck with Joe Milton, we're forgetting some of his amazing coaching jobs last year. That Texas A&M game is one of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen Josh Heupel do. Think about that. That's exactly the opposite of how Heupel wants to play. And he totally changed his style to almost, I mean, they won that game the way the Broncos won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning in 2016. I mean, you got to give him some credit for that. That's not what Josh Heupel wants to do.
With a lot of stem cells. Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety. Before you go the stem cell route, you can go to Hemp House. Wide variety, great selection, and strict standards to ensure you only receive the best in CBD or Delta products. Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com. Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com. Use the promo code HOOKED, the promo code HOOKED. So you can take part in the poll, but we've also got some people that want to say B plus as well. All right, let me ask you this. So who's an A plus quarterback in our generation, Caleb?
An A plus quarterback or A plus coach?
All right, A plus coach, A plus coach.
That's still coaching.
Well, no, I was going to say Nick Saban. Of our generation, it's Nick Saban, right?
Yes, Nick Saban is an A plus coach.
Okay, of our generation, he is the one. I mean, you could call Kirby an A plus coach too, but for the entire career,
Dabo's an A plus coach. Dabo has done an A plus job at Clemson.
Sure, 2 national championships. Okay, but there has to be some differentiation because Saban is better than both of those guys, I think. Right? He's better than Dabo.
Look, okay, but Saban's an amazing difference. But
yeah, the point I'm trying to make: what would Saban have done with the same 3 years at Tennessee?
No different than what Josh Heupel would have done. Maybe.
Oh, come on! It's the greatest coach in the history of college football, Caleb.
Dave, go look at Saban's 3 years at Michigan State. First 3 years. You want to know what they were?
They're bad. They're bad.
6-5, 6-5, 7-6. 6-5, 6-6, 7-6. If Saban would have done that, now what was a worse job? Michigan State in 95 or Tennessee in 2021? What was a harder job?
I would say Michigan State in general is a harder job.
No, but Tennessee in 2021 was a way worse program than Michigan State in 1995. And it's not even close. Tennessee was as bad as a Power 5 program could be when Josh Heupel took over. Okay? Josh Heupel going 7-6 in 2021 is the most impressive coaching job I've ever seen in the SEC. That's the greatest coaching season in SEC history. Right there. Going 7-6 with that roster. He lost 27 players to the portal, but from a 3-7 team. I mean, that was an incredible coaching job. And so no, I'm all in. Look, does Saban do a great job? Yes. Are we going to pretend that Saban hasn't had elite talent over the years at LSU and Alabama? And don't delusionally think that Saban would have gotten number 1 classes at Tennessee. He would have because of his name. But like if he just came in with Heupel's, if Saban went to Tennessee with Heupel's track record, Dave, you think he's getting top 5 recruiting classes? He's not.
Say this. If he's whoa. Now, if he shows up from Michigan State or he shows up after the Dolphins and he's had success in college at LSU.
He shows up with the same track record Heupel had showing up.
No. You got to give me the Dolphins guy.
No, I'm giving you the Heupel track record because we're comparing the job Saban did to Heupel.
No, it's his last job. I get the Dolphins guy. Dylan, and I agree with, says Saban would have had us in the playoffs last 2 years off name, power, and recruiting alone.
The Dolphins guy is not fair.
Maybe a little stronger than me, but I'm closer to Dylan than I am to you, Caleb.
Look, no, because Saban, Josh Heupel had Saban's track record roughly going to Tennessee. They had similar track records. Is that fair? When Saban came from Michigan State, excuse me. Saban from Michigan State, Josh Heupel from UCF is where the track records were similar.
I would say that Heupel's was considerably better. I mean,
I think going 9-2 at Michigan State stands out more because they beat Michigan, Notre Dame. That last year, Penn State, they beat like all the Big Ten rivals. That last year. Okay. But either way, what I'm saying is that Josh Heupel took over a worse. Y'all are going to hate me for saying this. He took over a way harder job without all the sanctions than Saban took over at LSU or Alabama. I'm sorry, Tennessee is a harder job than LSU or Alabama. It is.
No question.
Yes. And on top of that, Tennessee was dealing with a mass exodus of players in the portal, and they had just gone 3-7 in 2020, and they were under NCAA investigation. And homeboy went 7-6. What'd Saban do his first year at Alabama? You want to know what the record was?
Yeah, I do. It's 7-6.
7-6. The same record Heupel had at Tennessee. Which team was worse?
Actually, I did not think that Alabama team was that bad. I think that he was trying to instill discipline, and he sent a bunch of kids to the bench, and
Simeon Castile.
He kicked out Jimmy Johns. Not the sandwich maker, but the linebacker that was slinging the powder in the parking lot of the facility. And wasn't that the year they had the textbook scandal where right before the Tennessee game that he wanted to make a statement? I was like, what's this stupid coach doing? This Saban guy. I was in the press box and they hand this thing out. I'm like, he's not going to have any success. He's getting 12 guys suspended by the school and he doesn't even have the power. So I question Nick Saban's power and coaching prowess within a 30-second span. in Bryant-Denny Stadium. How stupid am I?
Well, and then the funniest part about that, Dave, is I know the game you're talking about. If there was ever like a clear-cut difference in coaching abilities, watch that Tennessee Alabama game in 2007.
It was just like, whoa.
Like Nick Saban was so massively ahead of Philip Fulmer on the field in terms of coaching in that day. It was honestly kind of quite embarrassing for Fulmer. Can we be honest? That loss to Alabama.
And when did Tennessee? Well, I mean, Tennessee, quite frankly, they were shown in their later stages for the most part. Under the Philip Fulmer era of having to lean on being more talented. What happened at Notre Dame when Charlie Weiss called 15,000 screens against John
Davis couldn't figure it out.
I mean, 15,000 screens.
You forget the week before the Notre Dame game. Remember when Steve Spurrier just called quick slants? It was just it was the same quick slant play every single play. And Chavis, I mean, again, Nick Saban, 2001 LSU, Matt Mogg. Let's just do the quarterback draw every play. John Chavis, I don't see it coming. And I mean, I could go on. And I'm not knocking Saban as a coach, but Saban went 7-6 in Alabama in 2007. And that was a better team and an easier job than what Heupel did going 7-6 with Tennessee in 2021. Heupel going 7-6 in 2021 is the most monumental, impossible thing that an SEC coach has ever done since I've been watching football.